So, Land of Mine. Or was it Land of Yours?
No, it was mine. It was definitely mine.
No, but no, like it was mine.
Oh. No, but actually, it's a really good pun. Land of Mine. This is directed by Martin Zvandeleit. I screwed it up. Zvandeleit.
Yes.
I think that's right. Yes, so he's a very small director. He hasn't done much so far, but he's obviously done this and it got Oscar nominated, and his next film's called The Outsider with Jared Leto, who plays an American soldier who turns and
joins the Yakuza
in World War II, which is just so very exciting.
But focusing on this movie here, it's excellent. It really is. So it's Danish, right? It's a Danish film.
What is this? I made some mid-afternoon killing Danishes.
But a lot of it's like in German, I believe.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I assume back then a lot of Danish people knew how to speak German because Germany took over Denmark.
Yeah.
So essentially, this film takes place in 1945, just as all the German troops are leaving Denmark and Denmark's taking back over, and the Danish soldiers hire young German boys.
Hire prisoners of war, but yeah.
Essentially, to get them to go across Danish beaches and search for landmines.
Clear landmines. And we're talking people that are like, the kids are pretty much, I'm pretty sure they're between the ages of like 15 to like maybe 20 at the oldest. So this is young people going and doing this really hectic stuff. And basically the setup of the film is we have these German kids with their there's a Danish sergeant who's obviously much older, he'd be like in his 40s, really, really full on over the top. And we basically, that's the story. So I think a lot of people will find the actual narrative here really predictable, but for us, it's a movie that's not so much about what will happen, it's more a case of how will it happen, how will it happen, and how will they deal with it.
Plus, when war films are directed well, they're always a good time.
This is a great war movie.
Exactly. World War II films are always going to have a massive emotional levity to them, sort of thing. And
emotional levity. To World War II, he says.
There is a massive emotional weight with all World War II films, and this one really does nail it. And it's, as you said, I mean, a few things are predictable here and there, but it's the aftermath of these events and how it's handled with these characters and watching it on screen, because things aren't held back. Like, when a landmine goes off...
Some of the stuff is really fucked up, and there's, like, constantly throughout the film, our audience was, like, way older, they were all, like, old crew, and they were all, like, okay. And it was like that the whole movie, because this has got some really heavy stuff. And before we go to anything, it's more like the brutality through the eyes of young people that are our age, that made us not only connect with this film, but I think a lot of people are going to connect with it because people have got, kids, grandkids, and they're going to see these people going through, they're basically forced into doing the most fucked up job on the planet, like defusing landmines is absolutely insane.
Plus, also, it's still a relevant thing. It's still happening in the world today as well. So it's not as if this is like some forgotten thing. Like, it's happened, and obviously it's been cleared over there now, but it's still very
all
present.
over the world. Yeah, there's a lot of places where this is still an issue, and this is still a thing that's being done. And I mean, like, the acting across the board here is fantastic. And I mean, the script really helps everyone because all the characters are introduced in really, really interesting ways, and you get to learn a lot about them really quickly. And that's not to say that a couple of the characters aren't kind of forgotten, and in later scenes you're like, hang on, did someone died? I don't know who was there or what happened. You kind of have to add up who's left over. But that being said, all the performances are great, particularly from the main guy. What's his name? Let's look up his name. Real Danish name, Roland Mola. I don't know how you pronounce that symbol, that thing there. Anyway, and he was just absolutely magnetic because he's going from different ranges. Like, you get this guy that's really hardcore. His opening scene is like there's like a row of older Germans, and he's going through and just like beating the shit out of them because he's so mad at them. And then you see him kind of progress, and you're like, is he sympathizing with the kids? And then stuff happens, and it's just really interesting watching an actor kind of go through that kind of emotion of post-war and going, leave my country type of thing, but then it also being kids, kind of how you feel at the same time to a lot of the stuff.
Plus, also, the director has a very kind of natural vision, and he uses a beautiful color palette of pretty much just whites and blues and browns and a little bit of green throughout the entire film, and he sticks to it, which is really great to see, so it is completely consistent throughout. One thing that I loved and I thought I could have got a little bit more of was the tension in this film. When we had scenes which were really tension-driven, you're sitting there and you're sweating, you're struggling. But at the same time, there's a few times where you kind of get drawn out a little bit and you thought you might have a bit more, I don't know, emotional intensity.
I think that's where the predictability comes from, is it's more like the moment before, as I've said, isn't as effective as the moment after. I think the first time when they're first coming to the beach and the first landmine goes off, that scene, which is quite a long and very, very messed up sequence, is definitely much more powerful than the moment leading up to it, because that's what stays with us as well.
And especially when they're learning to defuse landmines, that was this wicked sequence.
Really tense scene where, again, went through every character and we got to know a little bit about them as it went on. I think it's just overall, this is a really, really great war film. It is actually one of the best World War II films, at least, that I've ever seen. I really enjoyed it. Everything across the board is pretty well done. There were some things outright excellently done. And it's a movie that if you do get the chance to go and see, it's definitely worth seeing. So for me, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10.
And for me, I'm giving this one an 8.5.
So that was our review of Land of Mine. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Craving more banter?
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, all at Breaking Banter.